Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills, to country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony C. A pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our program, the Hour of always hosted here by me, Anthony C. Welcome to the broadcast. We have three outstanding citizens of the nation, Liberia, in studio. Their political side is clear. They call themselves the Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change. They are part of the CDC-USA, to be a little more specific. But again, there's something on their chest. They have something on their minds. I'm sure they have some unhappiness with some things happening within the CDC. For they penned a letter in which they condemned in the strongest term the just ended convention of CDC-USA in Iowa, describing the convention as fiasco. In fact, they have gone after the CDC-USA leadership. They describe the CDC-USA leadership as expired. These guys are tough with their words. My business here is simple, getting the facts out of them. What accuracy do they have on these issues that they are raising? Well, the thing that caught my attention the most is the letter is closed with this name, signed CDC Reformers. The schools that I attended, we gave them names for reason. When you are a reformer, that means there's something you want to reform. That is your mantra. That is your goal. You want to reform something. They Focus on Liberia CEO here, Dennis Guy, he called me the political bulldog. I don't like that name at all. But he thinks I'm always going for the truth out of the politicians and political actors, something that Prince Sherry sometimes does not like, especially when a hammer is pointing at his side. Gentlemen, you are well versed with the issue. Let me welcome you, Mr. Brother Prince Sharif, the host of Honor the Palava Hut. He has been on this mission, of telling his side of the truth, the narrative, for 6 years, and he's still counting. Prince, it's good to see you, brother. How you doing? How's family?
Well, thank you. I am doing fine. Am I audible enough, please?
You are loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for the distortion from the background, Sunday family gathering and what have you. So I'm sorry for
Mhm.
that. But again, I want to thank you so ever much, for giving me an opportunity to be on one of Liberia's most premier, institution when it comes to information dissemination. This is the common boiling point for all of us where we can come, to share ideas and to right the wrongs for a better Liberia. So I am always, glad, and it's a privilege for me to be here. And let me welcome, our audience and also the colleagues, some of the funniest in the CDC that have joined us on this discussion. So thank you so much. We are here to provide the information as necessary. Thank you, sir. Thank
We
you.
are always glad, and something I must state here to our audience: Prince is always on time. Whenever we call him here and focus on Liberia, it's about time. Prince, I salute you for that, brother. If we can correct the thing about time in Liberia and all African country, I think we'll move the needle a little bit. I just thought to make that point. Teddy Ted the Lion Yankun is an unbending, unrepenting, unapologizing citizen. And Mr. Yankun, it's good to have you. How you doing? How the ancestor? Did you speak to them before coming on the show?
Oh well, yeah, ancestors were every few minutes and seconds of my life. I always, notify them
Okay.
because as a retired crewman on the hill from Fitness, I always believe that there's a true meaning or reason why God brings me to the world as is Liberian man, my first retired crewman from Grand Crew County.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
as a seditious, also, the reformers is here to erect the checkpoints. I was surprised to know that you said that you were part of the CDC. You are technocrat of the CDC. But these are some of the reasons why you see this in the studio is to reform, create avenues to reform, structures reform, and that's you, the folks, the people who had before. We want to see people like you coming back to the CDC. This is one reason why we're here today. But we can go ahead. All ears. Listen to
Thank you, Teddy the Lion Yankun, a great son of Grand Crew County from Beta. My grandmother is from Beta, so I'm also a son of the people of Beta. I'm a professional fisherman, by the way. Comrade Trocom
I know.
is also here. We share the great state of Minnesota. Brother, welcome. How you doing? How's family?
Thank you so much for inviting me to your event today. I really do appreciate the opportunity. And I would just like to invite a quick checkpoint.
Please.
The nomenclature reformer doesn't in any way suggest that something must have been damaged before you reform it. So to be a reformer, it means that even the best performing institution, there is an it is exigent to always look for means through which you can improve on what you have. So the nomenclature CDC reformer, it only means that we like the CDC that we have, but our duty is to make sure that we improve on what we have so that we can keep providing the best possible service to the Liberian people. So that is the background of the name reformer. It doesn't suggest that the CDC have crumbled and we're trying to put together the broken pieces together. I just want to make that correction.
And that is fair, and I accept that. But I have to ask the question: is the CDC perfect right now?
There's no institution perfect. I'm from, there's no institution perfect.
Okay. Are there issues in the CDC that need
Mhm.
reforming?
Every institution have issues that need reforming. Even Fortune 5 companies, Fortune 500 companies, there will always be issues. There will always be an opportunity to improve on what you have. So, like any other institution, there are things within the CDC that needs to be worked on that are currently being worked on. And I'm pretty sure that you are speaking from the background of our recent defeat in the election, although the margin was less than 0.1%. But that doesn't in any way suggest that the CDC is having a major issue. But after the defeat, just to inform you, the party conducted some section of organizational introspection where we went back around the table, look at some of the mistakes that we make, look at some of the good things that we did, think designing ways through which we can try to improve on some of the good things that we did for the Liberian people, things that we did not do before. think about how we can try to implement it to make sure that we provide the best possible service to Liberian people in ensuring that the party represents the voices of the masses. And that is the agenda of the CDC. So like any other institution, even the ruling United Party, they do have their own issues. And I'm pretty sure that they are working on their issue like every other institution and like the CDC. So I will be the first to acknowledge that we have issues as an institution, but that is something that happens within every institution. So that is not unique to the CDC.
That is fair enough, and I accept that. And again, that is fair. Gentlemen, for those who are now hearing probably for the first time that you are part of CDC, and to be specific, CDC-USA, can you introduce yourself each further on that you play individually within the CDC? Let's start with you, Mr. Prince Sharif. What role do you play now with the CDC, specifically the CDC-USA?
Am I audible enough?
You are loud and clear.
Okay, so like I said, I'm sorry for the background noise, I'm sorry to the audience. Well, my name is Prince N. Sharif. As people will know, I serve as the host of Under the Palava Hut, a platform that is geared towards propagating the agenda of the CDC. And I used to serve as the former Assistant Secretary General of CDC-USA. And I am also a member, of the media and propaganda arm of the CDC-USA, and also, the CDC Global. So again, we are here to provide some information, and also a very privileged member of, a team that is aggrieved within the CDC. Thank you.
Mr. Sharif. Teddy Lion Yakun, what role do you play with CDC, specifically CDC-USA as we speak? You are muted, Teddy. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, the CDC-USA has served as deputy chairman for operations for the North Dakota chapter, and also of the CDC Alive. I serve as a global chairman because I spearhead 3 auxiliaries. I'm the chairman for 3 auxiliaries in the country, and I have chairmen, excuse me, for them. So that makes me the global chairman also. Currently, I'm one of the aggrieved partisans that try to, push my grievances through, as my colleague Prince Sherry said. Yeah, we are agreed to the one to, based on standing some violations of our constitution. So these are some of the reasons why we are here.
Thank you so very much. Comrade Trukon. Unmute, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invite again. My name is Trukon Mongai. I was one of those vying for the Secretary General position in the concocted election that was held. And I co-presided over the Minnesota chapter election, and I'm an ideologue of the CDC.
So right now you don't hold any position. You are a member who was vying for the position of Secretary General. Is that correct?
No, Prince. So I'm contesting for the Secretary General position, but I also work with the propaganda team on Prince Sharif.
Oh, on Prince Sharif. Yeah, Prince Sharif is a professional propagandist for the Mantic Coalition for Democratic Change. He's very good with his thing, Folks in cyberspace, if you have not shared the broadcast, please do. Citizens are Liberians. They are our brothers and sisters and fellow citizens. You heard Ted the Lion Yakun. He said he got grievances. What are those grievances? I'm concerned about a very strong water letter that they wrote that condemned its Iowa convention and described it as fiasco and describing the leadership as expired. Why are they saying this thing? You heard him talking about constitutional violation and all that. We will hear their grievances, and then we'll talk about what happened in Iowa, for which they are rejecting almost everything that happened at the Iowa convention. Mr. Yankun, I will come to you quickly. What are your grievances with your political institution, the CDC?
Oh well, my grievance is it started from the coming in of Constant Duopo, the chairman emeritus, Constant Duopo. When she was coming in, the administration that was there before, right after 2017, Steve Logan. His administration was moving very slow. There's no good activities of CDC-USA, and a lot of misunderstanding with he and some of the colleagues. So Constant Duopo came in. I'm not like that. And I took my candidate, Manny George, for the convention. And we won the election. Those numbers that were counted, 73 runners that went, uh, delegates for the convention were counted. That was the 73 numbers were expected. But after we had the election for the convention chairperson within the convention hall, this candidate that Constant Dopo just ushered in, based on the focus convention that was just held in Iowa a few days ago, this candidate called Charlotte Sharif. That time, the convention hall in Georgia, when we voted for him to be the chairperson to chair the conventional activities at that time, after we counted the number was 23. When the guy got in, his change, or after 10 names were added. We don't know where that 10 names of no authentication of those 10 names. And they went ahead with the convention. My candidate won that convention, manager. But because of the artificial numbers Natasha really created, that created confusion. And this confusion grew to this point. Constant Double came in. That led Constant Double to be the winner. She won the convention and called based on the artificial numbers that were created by Natasha Cherry. So, in the horror, there was some mixed frictions went on. But however, my name remained as tarnished as troublemaker. You know, because I was still up for my right. I was still up for the right thing to be done. It was not done.
Teddy,
Yes.
I want to ask. You said that some people are looking at you as a troublemaker. Let me hear from you. Are you a troublemaker?
No, of course not. I'm not.
But
But
here
I'm
you
saying
are
that.
describing, hold on, Teddy. Here you are
Yeah.
describing a convention that was organized by your party as bogus. What made the convention to be bogus?
That is one of my personal grievances in the whole matter. Because it was something that matters for my reputation. I was standing up for the right thing to be done. There was violation of our constitution. I thought that 10 extra names.
Which provision or provision in the CDC Constitution that was violated, and by whom, and how was those provision or any of the provisions in the CDC Constitution violated?
Well, I can have friends. I can have friends who deliberate to discuss on that.
That's fair.
All the provisions.
That's fair. Mr. Sharif, your comrade
sir.
is asking that you come in here. He's
Thank you.
alleging that the CDC Constitution was violated. I want to know which provisions or their provision that was violated, how was it violated, and who violated those provisions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. As enshrined in our Constitution in Article 13 of the CDC-USA Constitution, that talks about, the issue of tenure. To be specific, Article 13, Section 2, coming down. it talks about the tenure of elected leaders within the institution. When you look at the tenure in Article 13, Section 2, it says that every elected official, whether be on the National Council, that is the NEC, or on the local council, that is the chapter council, they are to serve for 2 years as per the Constitution, 2 years. So after every 2 years, we go for a national convention. It could either be a national convention, but there is a local convention preceding the national convention, because there must be a local, convention to elect new group of officers that will take that particular chapter to the national, convention. So when you look at that particular portion of the Constitution, you will observe that it was violated. Now, I was elected also on the National Council as Assistant Secretary General, which as per Constitution gave me 2 years tenure. So at the end of the day, we overstayed our 2 years. We overstayed our 2 years. Now, one of the reasons why we overstayed our 2 years was because of the national election in Liberia. As you may be aware, our Constitution states that after the 2 years, we must go for our convention, or before the 2 years, we must go for our convention. But just about that time, that was in August, that we should have had our own national, convention here in the US. We were all concentrating on what was happening in Liberia with the national, election and stuff like that. So we had prepared so that we can be in Liberia. But then before going to Liberia, there was a need for us to convene a meeting of the national body, that is the members of the local council and that of, some other, dignitaries of the CDC or some stakeholders, to abreast them that, look, my people, we are going to Liberia for a national convention. So because of that, we may not be able to have our own, CDC convention, even though it's not an excuse, because we should have planned ahead of time. But again, at least we should have called for a meeting that, look, we are going to Liberia. So because we are going to Liberia, there is a need for us to sit down and draft what we call a resolution giving us a time frame that, well, because we are going to Liberia, so we are giving you people maybe 3 months, 4 months, or 5 months to organize the convention within the period of 5 months after, the activities in Liberia. That the administration failed to do, which I was a member of, that the administration failed to do. So we left from here, we went to Liberia. In the midst of people calling for a meeting, we ignored it, and we went to Liberia, ignoring the concerns of people that we must have a meeting, we must have a resolution to give us a time frame that we must stay to organize the convention. We failed to do that. So we went to Liberia in gross violation of the Constitution, Article 13 of the Constitution that talks about tenure. So when we came back, it was incumbent upon us to immediately call for a meeting, that which we failed, until there were people like Teddy and other people who kept, informing the leadership that, look, your tenure expired. You cannot continue to act as a legitimate body when your tenure has expired as enshrined in our Constitution. So what you guys need to do is to set up a kind of, one would say an interim team, an interim convention team, because the convention is important. There is a need for us to go and sit down to be able to, brainstorm and see what the problems were. How can we be, as an institution, come together and try to rebrand ourselves and correct the errors. But again, the administration which I was part of serving as Deputy Secretary General, we failed to do that. That is to call for an interim body that will take us to the convention. But instead, the chair lady, Madam Constance Suendopu, at the time, the expired chair lady, refused and said that she was going to unilaterally appoint a convention committee and an election committee. So that again brought some level of dissatisfaction. So what the team did was to write an official communication to the Honorable Acting Chair of CDC, that is Janga Ko, informing Honorable Janga that, look, there is an issue. And that issue is this leadership that is currently there has expired, that tenure has expired, and they are wanting to do what is legal. If you are an illegal body, you cannot do what is illegal. So we call Honorable Janga Ko to come and be able to at least to, intervene in the situation. And the reason why we sent a communication to Honorable Janga Ko is also enshrined in our Constitution. When you look at Article 18, Article 18, Section 5 of our Constitution. It states that whenever there are issues with the CDC-USA, we revert to Liberia, and the CDC Liberia, or we say the global constitution, is used to be able to solve the issues that are here. But unfortunately, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let me come in with a question. There's a lot of information. I'm glad that you acknowledge that you don't want to make excuses for not having your convention prior to the national election in Liberia. You knew national election was coming. As an elected body at the time, you also knew you have a constitutional term of 2 years, and you needed to plan for a convention to elect new corporate officers. To even mention election as a reason for not even having a convention to produce new code of officials or to elect new code of officials through the convention was just another flimsy excuse. I'm glad that you acknowledge that. Now, what I want to ask you now is, Prince, what does the CDC Constitution say? Is the Constitution quiet or silent whenever there is an expired tenure of leadership? Does the Constitution provide any provision whatsoever what should be done during that period? Like in your case, when your leadership term expired, did the Constitution say, well, that body, though their term has expired, can act until a convention? Or nothing at all? I just want to get that clarity for you and from you and for our audience.
Yeah, when you look at Article 21 of the Constitution of CDC-USA, it talks about, impeachment, removal, and expulsion. In that particular article also, it talks about, I'm just going to read it quickly for the, the audience. It says Article 21, impeachment, removal, and expulsion, expulsion power. It says Section 1, officers and members may be expelled, impeached, and removed from office for 1, dereliction of duties or desertion of the CDC-USA. Now, when you look at that particular word, dereliction, some of us, we grew up in the interior, so the pronunciation may be very difficult, but it is spelled as D-E-R-E-L-R-C-T-R-O-N, dereliction of duty. So when you look at dereliction of duty, it falls under what we did. That is something that we should have done legally, and we failed to do. So at the end of the day, according to our constitution, we as a body should have been impeached, we should have been removed, or a disciplinary action should have been taken against us. But again, because
your reason that you should have been impeached or removed was because you feel miserably to execute your constitutional responsibility of conducting another convention to elect new corporate officers, and you feel that's why you needed to be removed. Is that correct?
Definitely, that's why we needed to be removed, or we needed to, there was some measure that needed to be taken against us. But again, the body said.
You also talk about the issue of resolution, that an option, I don't know whether the Constitution provides that there could be a resolution, and the resolution could go either way. Well, let a resolution could bring interim leadership to take you to the convention and plan it, or a resolution could add the current corps of officers to take you to convention. What led to the failure on that resolution?
Yeah, again, that resolution is not enshrined in our constitution. But again, the constitution is made by us. So we look for a way forward, because I think the folks there, they wanted to take the hard decision to say, well, you people have neglected your responsibility, so we are going to do X, Y, Z. So what they decided was we can have, a kind of roundtable meeting, discuss. But one of the reasons why we failed to have that particular meeting was because the chair at the time, Madam Constance Swendropu, I think, she was just, she was just adamant to that, because she felt that if a meeting of such was going to be convened, that was going to almost be like a manners on her part, that over the period you have led us, as the first female, let's say, chairperson, and the leadership is going this way. So I believe she was trying to escape that particular, scene, and thinking that,
are you suggesting that this is the first time it's happening in CDC to fail to conduct election within time?
No, this is not the first time. The election that brought Madam Constant Duopu to office, it happened under the regime of Chairman Logan, the former Chairman Logan, and Liberia had to intervene. They used the same article for Liberia to intervene. So when it happened, that is, the tenure of Mr. Logan was extended. Again, there was a communication rating because there were so many violations. So Liberia, under the chairmanship of Honorable Moluba Molu, had to come in to take siege of the situation so that we could go to Georgia. But Georgia was not the original setting of our convention at that time. But because of the issues, so we had to go to convention. So it is not the first time that it has happened. Yeah, the first time Liberia takes siege of the situation.
Thank you. Let me bring in Comrade Trokon. And Comrade Trokon, I want to talk to you on the bigger picture of the whole situation. So you are CDC-USA. You live in the United States. You are following politics here. We are looking at the what you call the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. CDC-USA should be or has been the brain power, the intellectual arm, for lack of a better way to put it, of CDC. You should be the one even suggesting better example. This is a leadership that failed to conduct convention on the mere excuse that, well, election were coming in Liberia, we needed to go, we didn't have time. Looking at it with my political eyes in terms of serious leadership, your team failed miserably. You didn't plan ahead of time. And now, when we gave you power to run an entire country, will you now be defaulting on important meetings, on important events, when you are defaulting on a mere convention? I mean, talk to me about that. How do you process this whole failure to conduct the convention? Are there genuine excuses why it didn't happen? And does that make you look good?
So the first thing is, I think the characterization, to characterize the failure of Madam Constant Dopo in her leadership to conduct election to that of the performance of the CDC, if she is re-elected, I think that would be a wrong characterization because there are different reasons why an event could be postponed. Although the postponement of the past convention was illegal, and there was some underlying reason why Madam Constant Dopo refused to have conducted the election, but that doesn't in any way suggest that the CDC as an institution is not a prepared political party. CDC-USA is inarguable. CDC-USA has been and will always be the intellectual and financial arms of CDC in Liberia. The CDC has a lot of great people from different intellectual, social, and political backgrounds that have the capacity to go back to Liberia, or even those in Liberia that have the might to transform the living condition of our people in Liberia. What happened was that there were some, I wouldn't even blame the entire leadership of CDC-USA because there are some actors in CDC-USA that did extremely well, that even contributed significantly to the mark that we made during the election. I know we lost the election, but to the mark that we made during the election. There were some people who dedicated a lot of time, a lot of resources, go back to Liberia. There were even comrades from CDC-USA that were teaching in the counties before the election, dedicating that time and service to our people. So the election wasn't here, that was our manners. And I think a big share of that responsibility is being placed on the field leadership of Madam Constant Dopo. And a lot of people who work with her, with all due respect, complain about her arrogance. She's the kind of person who, I'm not trying to discuss her personality, but she wanted to have had total dominance over the party. There are some actors like Prince and other guys who work under her that kept alarming the urgency of us having this convention. And for some personal reason, as an institution, we were going to election. Some of us, we had interest in contesting, but it was expedient at that time for us to focus on the national election, since that is one of the most important reasons why the CDC was formed, to make sure that we provide responsible leadership for the Liberian people to transform the life of the poor people in Liberia. So we decided that we should not allow ourselves to be blinded with organizational issues at that time, but rather focus on the bigger picture, which was to make sure that we have President Weah and the guys who are contesting on the ticket of the CDC get re-elected in Liberia, and then after the re-election, come back to the United States, all of the arrangement that should have happened before going to Liberia, bring everybody back under the Palava hut. Madam Constant Dobo, as a responsible leader, if I was in her position, I would have called everyone, converge the entire CDC-USA, and be like, my people, I'm sorry. This convention should have been held. For some personal reason, we could not have had this election, or even use the election. You can even lie on the election as an excuse. Because of the election, we could not have had election, blah, 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 but we're going to be having a convention. We're going to be setting up an independent team and making sure that every actor in the party form part of the decision. Because you see, the reason why it is important to always have this constitutional event like convention is because every institution have people from different background. Like, for example, my brother Prince was elected during the past convention, Madam Kosen Dope was elected. They play their part, but there are other people who have specialized skills and experience that they can bring on the table. So it is always important that you make sure that you entertain the view of the people. But for some reason, the leadership of the party refused to even listen to the ordinary people of the party. And the CDC is a mature political party, unlike public perception that the CDC is a violent party. We have been having organizational issues. We have been ringing the bells of the chairman, but the chairman refused to have had election. So, predicated on that, we were waiting for the appropriate time so that we can all sit down under the Palava hut, reconvene, and structure a way through which we can have a convention for everyone to actively and fairly participate. But unfortunately, I think based on the failure of the past leadership, or for whatever reason, they decided that they will have a concocted election wherein those who they feel comfortable with, they will turn the party over to them so that their stewardship cannot be reviewed. And for some of us, we are revolutionary Democrats. We see things differently. If there was going to be a fair election, which of course it is inarguable, I would have been overwhelmingly elected as the Secretary General of CDC-USA. After taking over the party, we're going to make sure that we review the facts. Things that were inappropriate, we call those who are responsible to the book. And probably those are some of the reasons why people were extremely skeptical to organize an open election. And my brother Prince spoke about constitutional violation. One of the biggest constitutional violations that happened during their quote-unquote concocted election that they had in Iowa was that CDC-USA has more than 20 chapters. They had their town hall meeting in Iowa, or however they want to call it, and they only had 3 chapters. The Constitution clear that before any national event is being held, there must have been a quorum. The 3 chapter doesn't constitute a quorum because we have more than 20 chapters. So how will you have just 3 chapters attending an event and then you call that a convention, wherein people from the other camp trying to register and their election commission person refusing to take the person application, refusing to take the person registration fee, which of course I think that was unfair. I, for one, I was contesting for the Secretary General position or member of the party. This year I co-presided over 2 chapters convention, and then reached out to the lady who was collecting the fees and the registration. The first thing she said, "Oh, Cash, I'm having a problem. I couldn't send my registration." She said, "Call me tomorrow." And then I called the woman until judgment that I could not get her. Whenever I call her on another person's phone, she will tell me that, "Oh, I will call. Let me talk to the chairman. I will call you back. Let me talk to the chairperson of the party. I will call you back." Blocking other people from participating, and I think that is unfair. Our institution.
The party does not have bank accounts and platform to use for members to pay money. You have to be calling an individual.
So every institution have different way of doing things. Every institution doesn't operate the same way. There is a bank account for the registration of candidates, but not everybody going to be going directly to the bank. You can send money to the person who's doing the registration, and they're going to be accountable to the party.
Well, because my knowledge of CDC have always had accounts. The accounts number will be made known to all members, and a member will go up to the bank and pay, and then send the receipt to the person who is in charge of collecting that specific payment, and not to send the money to an individual. But again, like you said, there could be a way. I still have question for Trocon.
Yeah, to just come in quick on that, sir. I just want to come in quick on that. Like you rightly said, you are right. The institution do have, a bank account. But unfortunately, I think our leadership that are serving as Deputy Secretary General, we've not done much to be able to inform our people of these processes. So even during the convention, most of the time, people paid at the door. their registration fees. We should not be like that. But again, the administration at the time failed to do a lot. So that should have been done. That is, when people have a fees to pay, they pay it through the bank. But usually when it's coming around convention, the committee will decide, that the money should be paid, to whoever that is serving as the chair of that particular, let's say, election committee. So that's how it has been. So it is not illegal, even though, yes, we have, our bank account, but that has also been done too in that form, shape, and manner. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And Trokan, I'll come to you. We want to welcome Pastor Success A.B. Dennis. Comrade, if you can pull your phone in landscape like this, it will eliminate the black spot around you, and it will give you that television, field. But your phone got to be auto-rotate for that to happen. So please do that, and I'll get back to you. Trokan, it's obvious you are clear that the constant duopoly leadership, or in particular, constant as a leader, should be held accountable for the party's failure to hold convention. You are saying this is not a reflection on CDC, but this is a leadership failure for constant duopoly. I want you to make that as clear as you can. Are you suggesting that Constant did not make any effort whatsoever to hold a convention? Because at the same time, you're saying, well, she could use the election in Liberia as an excuse. But from Prince's explanation, it was like a general consensus that the convention is not possible. We have to elect president. The main reason of CDC-USA is to ensure that we get political power in Liberia. And this is the time, so that's the focus. But then you're blaming her. So please make the clarity.
Just to let you know that Success Dennis, our chairman, the aspiring candidate, chairman, he's in the backstage. He said I should let you know. Okay, yeah, he's here now. Thank you.
He's here now. So Trokan, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for that question. You see, when people conduct an election, in a way such that it disenfranchises other people, it shows that there are some underlying reason for which they decide to trek in such path. It is an open secret that during the leadership of Madam Constant Dopo or their concluded convention, they prevented a lot of people from participating, and they created a whole lot of bottleneck as a means to which other people will feel disenfranchised and not participate. And as I stated earlier, I'm not going to withdraw that. I think we should holistically blame Madam Constant Dopo for the failure of having a united convention. And the reason why I'm blaming her is because I think she had underlying reason for which she didn't want independent actors to have taken over our institution so that they can now hold the feet of our leadership close to the fire, should in case we notice anything that happened that should not have happened in the first place. So, as I stated earlier, Madam Constant Dopo is fully responsible for everything that happened with the CDC-USA convention. The convention, all of the noise that is happening right now about us having a convention where only 3 chapters appear or participated in the midst of 20 chapters, she's responsible, and that is because she doesn't want independent people to have contested. And Anthony, you have been following the activities of the CDC, but I can tell you for free, if there was going to be a united CDC-USA convention, and you have Pastor Success Dennis, and you have Yatala, or however you call him, from Philadelphia, and you bring me and other actors from our end, we have the popular support. And the vast majority of the people of our party didn't participate during the convention because they believe that we were disenfranchised in the process, our team. And I'm talking about more than 17 chapters. They withdrew from the process because the process was being bottleneck. It was created in a way such that they were preventing our side from participating. And they did it in a way such that they violated a lot of constitutional articles, knowing that our side, we are well informed, we're not going to participate in any process that will not go in line with the Constitution, and that is what they did. For example, the convention should have been held in New York.
So Chuka, from what I heard, I was in Prince. So one of you said that. Yeah, one of you said that. I think only 3 chapters participated in the convention. Is that correct?
3 chapters. Yeah.
So if you have chapters,
that is correct.
Each state have, now it might not be all of the state, but most states have their chapters, and they should have gone to the convention. I'm not think Constant Duopo stopped those chapters from showing up at the convention. Did she do that?
Yes, she did it indirectly. What she did was that everybody knew 2 years ago that we should have had a convention in New York City, because at every convention we determine where the next convention is going to be held. And some people who are good at planning, like me, we buy our ticket ahead of time, we make our reservation and plan to go at that location. Anything other than that, we should come back on the table and have that discussion. There was no such discussion, there was no such convergence where Madam Constant Duopo came back to the people asking us or providing reason why we cannot go to New York and providing a new direction. No. They created their own caucus, they formed their own election commission team, and they make that decision without the vast majority of the party. And
when did you get to know that they had their own caucus and made decision different from New York and now to Iowa? At what point did you get to know?
So what happened was that it was announced in a meeting, and the announcement came in with such that, I'm going to conclude, maybe Prince will come in. The announcement came in with such that she was asking about it, that, oh, my people, we cannot have this convention in New York again, but I think we should have it in Iowa. What you think about it, or which location you would recommend? And that is how leadership should have been. But instead, she was telling the people that we are going to be having convention in Iowa City on XYZ date, and this person is going to be election commission chairman, this person is going to preside over the convention, which is illegal. We have a constitution. During our last convention, because the convention is the largest decision-making body of our institution, during the last convention, the party decided that we're going to have a convention in New York. We appointed a convention committee chairman who shall preside over the convention. So if there is any reason for which there should be changes, you should come back to the people who gave you power. Put away arrogance, come back to your people, tell them, my people, we cannot go to New York for X, Y, and Z reason. What is your thought? What do you think we can do? Have that happened? Everybody will have provided their view. And after she made that announcement,
some critical people like us, that the decision not to go to the agreed upon venue of New York now to Iowa was unilateral, and that came from Mrs. Constant Duopo.
That's correct.
All right, that is a huge chance. We reached out to Mrs. Constant Duopo, but she was in service. I wanted to talk to her, let me use Satya. Prince Johnson Levy was comprehensively before the show, so as to be informed from her side, but she was in service. Focus on Liberia. I talked to her during the show. We'll find time to bring her in to get her side of the story. I just wanted to put it out there because we Focus on Liberia, which is about getting our stories balanced and fair. Let me welcome Pastor Success A.B. Dennis. Welcome, brother. Please introduce yourself. What role do you play with the CDC? If you have any leadership, committee, chapter head, whatever role you might have played with the CDC, so that my listener will know or how involved you are with the CDC, sir. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Okay,
thank you.
My name is Pastor Success A.B. Dennis. I reside in the city of Des Moines in Iowa. I've been a CDC since 2005, and we've been actively involved into CDC activity in the United States, and we migrated to this side of the globe. And all along, we've been interacting with the expired leadership, and we've been going on that occasions, representing CDC in New York, in Washington, D.C., on CDC activities and so on. So we've been involved with CDC, in the United States.
And Pastor Dennis, please make adjustment to your device. Your head is in the roof. I want to see that 6 part and then your face, please. Audience also, yeah.
1 second. Just give me 1 second. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's perfect like that. It's perfect.
Thank you, sir.
It's perfect there. Thank you. So what I want to know, do you share the criticism, the grievances and the concerns that your colleagues has expressed here?
100%.
All right. Thank you. So now talk to me. I want to know the convention that just took place in Iowa. According to Teddy Yankun, he said it's a Booker's convention. Do you also share that characterization of the convention?
It's Booker, it's fiasco, it's unconstitutional. All
right. Now, before I get to Prince, there is a communication that was shared with me from your side, and it says sign here CDC-USA reformer. And I will read something here just for our audience to follow. Statement of condemnation on the recent Iowa fiasco held in Des Moines, Iowa. It reads, CDC reformers condemn in the strongest term claims by the aspired leadership of failed CDC-USA chairperson Constant Duopo that the scam event held in Des Moines, Iowa from September the 27th to the 29th, 2024 represented the 9th biannual National Convention of the Congress for Democratic Change, United States of America, CDC-USA. That event, correctly characterized as the Iowa fiasco, was a blatant violation of CDC-USA Constitution and failed to obey fundamental principles of democracy and transparency. So you have your counts, and there where I want us to come, and I'm going to start with you here, Pastor Success Dennis. You mentioned in one of your counts the event did not have a CDC-USA quorum to even hold a meeting. Of the 9 chapters of the 9 CDC-USA Executive Committee members, only 3 attended. Here, you seem to be quoting the CDC Constitution that there's no quorum because only 3 out of the needed 9 were there. So, talk to me. Is that one of the reasons that made this particular convention to even be illegal? Because according to your your point here, they didn't make quorum.
So that's not just the only reason. So in the very first place, from the genesis of this convention, the preparation, the process, the procedure followed were all in violation of our Constitution. So what's in it when they own Constitution, they converse themselves and gather themselves, they again did not make constitutional provision of quorum to have a convention. So it's not just because they didn't meet quorum, no. From the genesis of the planning, the process that led them to that convention or that quorum called gathering was unconstitutional. So even if they have quorum, we could still have a problem because the process that led you to even have that quorum was unconstitutional. So one of that point very clear.
So you also alleging that the venue was not agreed on or didn't meet consensus as a political party.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
All right. Then another thing you said, and let me ask a question, a critical question, by the way, concerning that. So why you think should have been done now that they did not meet quorum, and then also they were in constitutional errors and violations? Why you think they should have done? Saying you are saying what they did was completely unconstitutional. What you think they should have done?
So for me, I'm not looking at the constituent Topo expired leadership or whosoever to have done something, because these individuals were engaged. When the whole process started, we saw constitutional breach, we saw irregularity, we saw or violation of our Constitution. We started aligning. That was 3, 4, 5 months ago. We started aligning the issue. This thing is unconstitutional. Your tenure have expired. You can't preside over the Constitution. You can't appoint constitutional authority. You have to relinquish. You have to leave. You have to have an interim body. They were ignored. And we find out that there were no willingness to respect our Constitution. And according to our Constitution, when the CDC-USA have an issue that is unresolvable at the body yet, we should report to Liberia, and Liberia should get involved. So, predicated upon that, we take the communication to Chairman Janka Cole 3 to 4 more ahead of the convention, or of the date of the convention. So, that tells you that USA as a CDC, party on their side, we have having a rival, and we cannot find a common ground for remedy or to resolve the issue. So, we went to Liberia. Now, all that we are discussing today coming on the air, releasing, or press statement or whatever, or releasing our positional statement, is all orchestrated. Let me not say orchestrated, but the architect beyond it was our chairman. The reason I'm saying that is that when we wrote him, he had taken the appropriate step to say, look, I'm hearing a complaint. Two sides here come together. What happened? You say there's a violation. They said no, it's not a violation. Senate committee looked into the constitution. Tell no, these guys are in the wrong. Or go ahead with the convention. Or you are in the wrong. Come on the table. Let's resolve this issue. When we do that, you know what happened? We won't be here today. We could have gone to a convention, but have the unified CDC-USA working to the progress of our party, the convention that have resulted into us being here today while we are doing. So we were fighting to resolve. But the chairman did not give you attention. So all that we're discussing here for me, I'm not looking at my Constance Dopo and her team any longer. They choose to violate our constitution. We want for a redress to the chairman. If the chairman has stepped in, we won't be here. So everything we're discussing here boil down to Chairman Jangako. I don't want to make a point very clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a fine point that I agree with, because if you took the matter to him, I don't know whether you did it in writing or whether it was done verbally.
We wrote it. Officially, we wrote it.
Okay, thank you. So he got a communication, you telling him, bringing this matter to his attention, that Mr. Chairman, we have an issue here. Our constitution provides that when we have an issue that we cannot resolve, we should resort to Liberia. Yeah, it is. From what I'm hearing from you, the chairman has not made a decision. Neither has he called a meeting for the party, all right, or you're calling it the global now, the global arm to make a decision. So now you are saying, well, Constant Dopo, we can blame her for the violation and all that. But at this point, we are holding the chairman accountable. That's why you are saying. But the question I have for you now, Pastor Success, before I get to Comrade Sharif, is that, look, now here you are. What is your goal at this time? Are you still seeking resolution? Because you couldn't get a resolution from Constant Dopo, as you are alleging. You couldn't even get it from the party chairman as well. So you could have resolved the matter here all by yourself, but you say you couldn't because the constitution directs you to Liberia. Liberia let you down from what I'm hearing from you. One may be thinking that you're making all the noise now. You didn't go to the convention because you knew probably the side you're accusing could have flogged you, and probably that was the case. That's why you didn't show up. Because if you all have shown up, there will be quorum, isn't it?
I could not have shown up because the thing is very simple. If you look, we are law-abiding individuals, right? We are law-abiding people. If you start an illegal process and we raise an alarm, so we subject ourselves to that illegal process that we condemn already from the beginning. We can't do that. The venue was unconstitutional. The process by which the convention was even here, or that gathering, I don't want to call it convention, that gathering was even here was unconstitutional. CDC-USA, let me come to your question. We still believe people of the middle of the common good of our party. We still believe that there's still a bigger room for resolution, a bigger room for us to resolve this thing, a bigger room for the national executive to step in. If the national executive step in today and say, hey, come on the table, we go into A, we resolve it, and we move into convention. Believe you me, all we do here is even the court case will be withdrawn. All right? Even if we go, even
You have a court case as well?
That's what we want. See that?
Pastor Dana, you have a court case as well. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, we have a court case. But I don't want to discuss the court case because it's unprofessional to discuss something that is in court and discuss it, outside the court jurisdiction. But I'm just saying that we have a court case.
All right. Thank you. Let me come to you, my brother, Prince Sharif. Your letter detail all your counts, one of which is that the appointed chairman for the very convention in Iowa did not show up because, according to you, he had realized that the whole process was illegal, rendering the whole thing as Terry the Lion Pole as bogus. So my major question now is, what is the way forward? Are you still going to be looking up to the chairman in Liberia and for a direction? And is that something you're going to, why if the chairman say, okay, let's call for a new convention. Is that something you're willing to do? You are muted, Prince. My simple question is, what is the way forward?
Yeah, before we can, let me just point in an issue like you talk about. Why make the gathering, you know, in Iowa unconstitutional, illegal, and etc. etc. When you look at the Constitution of the CDC-USA in Article 23, it talks about amendment. And I'm going to read it quickly. Article 23 talks about amendment. It says, any amendment to the Constitution shall be by 2/3 majority of the delegates present and voting at the national or special convention convened by the purpose, for that purpose, sorry. Notice of articles of amendment proposing any amendment to the Constitution shall be forwarded to the office of the National Secretary General at least 3 months before the national or special convention. The NEC shall provide at least 1 month notice for any constitutional amendment to the general membership and specifically to all chapters for dissemination to branches and members. Now, at that convention, it will surprise you to note that there were, amendment made to the Constitution without following these articles or this particular portion of our Constitution. That is Article 23. They went there, and because they want to solidify illegality, they went there and said that they have amended the Constitution of CDC-USA. That is from 2 years as enshrined in our Constitution to 4 years. So can you imagine this gross violation by the illegal administration not following this particular portion of our Constitution? That 3 months, the communication to amend must be provided to the Secretariat, which I am a member of also as Deputy Secretary General, because it is, a secretariat comprises of other people. So they did not do that. They just run to Iowa. They sit down for lawyers and say, no, the people will come back. So they think, let's make it 4 year, right now, here and now. So,
and Prince, I know you're laughing. If that actually what happened, this is concerning. To increase the term for an elected administration to 4 years, and then you don't have quorum. I don't know, but again, the convention is the overall decision making body of any political party. So if at all the convention made this, but now you are raising the issue of quorum. If they don't have the quorum to make that decision, then that's another thing. But again, we'll hear the side of Mana Constant Ropo and people who are on her team. Now, another thing, and I think it's important for the sake of the audience for us to read most of your issues here. Now, you also write here, one of the 9 standing committees, only one standing committee chair attended. You also wrote that the expired chairman and her lieutenant conducted the Iowa fiasco instead of electing a convention committee. So you are even saying there was not a convention committee to preside over what they did. They did it as leadership. Now that's another thing you are also alleging according to your count. All right. And then another member, he said, no membership due payment listing were published before the date of the Iowa fiasco. Is this something that is required by the Constitution too, that there should be a publication of the entire listing of membership?
Okay, so when you look at Article 15 of our Constitution, it talks about standing committees. Now, when you look at that particular that gathering that was held, I don't like to call it convention, that gathering that was held, none of these, in fact, it's just one person from this committee, from Article 15 of our Constitution. You just have one person from this particular, a committee that was part of it. Now, the second issue, when you are going to election, usually the listing or the names of all of those chapters that have met the constitutional requirements, the listing is placed out. That convey, for example, or or maybe Maryland or the DMV chapter have, let's say, meet the requirement that is enshrined in the Constitution to participate. So the names are put out there, almost like voter registration listing, so to speak, in this way. A voter registration listing is put out there. And the reason for which it is put out there is so that people who will be participating in the convention, or those who have ambition to elect or for elected positions, so that they can also be able to run adequate campaign with those who are legally attending, or those who are supposed to vote or have that legal power to vote. So usually the listing is put out there maybe 1 month or so, that those individuals can reach out to the various chapter and start to, to run their campaign. That's the major reason for which it is legal and it is appropriate for the listing to be sent out there. It's almost like going to national election. How do you go to national election when the listing or the voter roll update is now placed up? So how do you know those who are participating in it, whether they are legal or they are not legal? Just from the common, I just thought to make this analogy from our national, election. So that should have been, so that should have been with the same thing with this particular convention. So the names of people or of legal chapter should have been placed in the various chat room, so that people who have ambition can say, let's go to Maryland and go campaign. Let's go to this place and go campaign. But that was not done at all. And even the listing of people who have paid, due paying members that are eligible to participate or to vote, they were not placed up by the committee.
So this is another one. And Teddy, where are you? I want you to comment on that one. You said 8% of the 25 unverified members present abstained because the gathering was illegal and did not meet the CDC-USA constitutional threshold. So my concern here is you are saying there were 25 members who were unverified. And out of that 25, 8 abstained. So how did you, because you were not there, how did you get to know that there were 25 members, you calling them members, that were not verified? Explain to me, or Teddy, what are you talking about here? Teddy, unmute yourself. You're talking about 25 members who are unverified. So basically you are saying these people probably are not even seditions, but you're calling them members, you say, but they were not verified and they participated. And of the 25, 8 abstained. Talk to me. Are you saying that they have people who are not verified at the convention?
I was not there. I know about that. But
You're
after
to just come in with this, to be a verified member, the first thing that needs to happen is that, especially to participate in a convention, there must be a listing of those who were or those who are legally paying or due paying members. So in order for you, thank you very much. So in order for you to be, yes, sir, go ahead, Teddy.
Anthony, what Prince tried to tell you is that I can remember when we had a convention in Georgia, and before the convention, those who paid their dues, and you pay your dues, you automatically qualify to be dedicated, right, Prince? This is your Prince, right? Those who pay their dues, they are delegates to go for the convention. So usually they will put it in the chat room, just as Prince said, like voter registration. Like you already registered to vote. They expect you to go for the convention. They register delegate. So in all been like that, there are a lot of unscrupulous, practices of this gun convention, because constant global, usually the problem she brought to CDC-USA, her slogan was on some point. When you conducting conventions for these parties, the organizations, these things should be done. You cannot eradicate corruption 100%, but you can see the glaring, aspect of people unscrupulous practices, malpractices of the arrangement agreement. These things can lead some of the partisans into disenchantment. And you see, the reformer is very keen on that. These are some of the checkpoints we try to erect. We don't want this kind of fraudulent, electoral practices or conventions, because we're talking about coming back. We do not want our members to go in disenchantment.
Thank you.
And also, we want everybody to be fair, person to be fair. according to the, as you part of the organization.
Thank you.
Yeah, to just inject quickly on that. Yes, sir. To just inject quickly on that. You asked a question. How did we know when we were not part of the convention that these 8 people were never part? Now, those that were there, they even raised the issue. Those 8 persons raised the issue and said, what you guys are doing here is illegal. So we will not be part of it. It was those that were there who decided that they will not be part, and there are video recording, who decided to call us and say, look, gentlemen, this thing was illegal because we were there. We told them that it was illegal. They ignore us, and that's why we are putting this out. So they were there. So they raised the issue to us because we weren't there. So that's how we got to know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We got to know about speculation after some of them were, confessing.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. And let me come to you, Pastor Success Dennis. We see some members, I believe, of the party here, they are commenting. Let me read some of the comments and get your reaction. This comment is from Dixon Daze. I hope I'm getting your name right here. We have meeting, Prince. Please stop telling lies on global stage. So he's disagreeing with Prince's explanation. He writes here again, the convention in Iowa was legal when we elected new leaders who have taken over the affairs of CDC-USA in these states. All right. He writes, he continues here, that's not the question. Please answer. I don't know which one he's referring to. Then we have Edo Zachariah Roberts here. Those reformers are smart, educated. No, you don't want to talk to people in this manner. Without vision and leadership, just looking for attention. He said, you people are seeking attention and you're calling you so-called reformers. Error again. Today, after losing the 2023 presidential election, we need everyone to come together and work together for the 2029 presidential election. So, so he says here, these so-called reformers were waiting for Manaconstant Duopo to collect them and transport them to the convention. So he's saying that you didn't show up and now you are crying after everything else. And then the final statement here, these reformers were opposition to Manaconstant Duopo from day one. So he's saying, you are saying all this because you have been opposition to Manaconstant Duopo. I don't know whether that is the case with Prince Sharif, who was Secretary General. Prince, did you contest? Anyway, let me answer to Pastor Dennis. Go ahead and respond
to. So there's a war stage, right? Mm-hmm. You got thousands of people viewing the comment. And if you can attest, some we see here, we have not used any profanity, we have not used any demeaning statement, we have not been, we have been described, personalities, But yeah, our fathers who think that they are level-headed, they are educated, they are smart, they can make decisions on behalf of the masses and affect them, whether negative or positive, just on the public show and making some derogatory statement towards us. But again, we're not going to gratify that because that is the problem we saw. That these people are adamant. See, any wrong, the Constitution is violated. You are knowing, living in wrong, doing the wrong and going scot-free with it. So the same group of, people coming together said, no, it's a violation of the rule of law, the writing of this law done. Seems to me they are following up to it. They don't have any idea what it takes to defeat a constitutional provision. So when they make this kind of statement, we're not going to gratify. We're not going to pay. The statement and not the issue we are here. They can make whatever statement. Our issue here is our constitution was violated. Since we keep it tonight, I join you guys later. But when I came, everything we say here, constitutional provision were provided. Articles were quoted. Sections were quoted. So let them come and tell us that this section, the article we are quoting, we are lying. Let them tell us on the show that Manaconstant and Duopo they don't expire last year August. Let them tell us on the show that in life, anything that is expired, whether illegal, whether be a food, be a whatever, anything that expired. America say expire food, let me catch you. Let them arrest you for selling expired food. Anything that is expired is illegal. And that thing will be in a public space for other public consumption or whatever. It's illegal. Whoever does that is to be arrested and prosecuted. So that's what we are saying here. So now you come here and say, oh no, these guys, what they are saying, the Constitution, no, the Constitution say 3 years, they say 4 years, he said 2 years. Then we have issue to discuss with them. Open statement say we opposition, what I do, a political party. So always be an opposition, there will always be people against, there will always be people in favor. That make it we have to develop that background, we keep it convertible as a party. Right? So I will not let you. But once the Constitution is respected, once you like it, not abide by it because the Constitution is respected. So that is the point we are making, my people.
To just make a quick input, on this.
Yeah,
I'm reading the comments here and I'm seeing one of our funniest elder, making such a statement. Let me say, we are not against any of our partisans. And we are not here to attack them because they are some of the funniest species you can ever find in our political arena. We respect our elder. He's somebody who is highly respected. And we believe he's just acting, out of emotion. So, like he said, here is the issue. Ask these people what the Constitution says about tenure. What the Constitution says even about amendment. If you claim, then what the Constitution says about quorum in order for you to convene a meeting. We have 20 chapters. 20 chapters in CDC for just 3 persons. And those chapters did not even meet the requisite number. One chapter went there with how you call 1 person. Another went there with 3. And another went there, with the rest of the other people. So we are not against these people. And we are not going to use any vulgarity against them because they are our members. We respect them. They are some of the funniest that we have. So we're not trade in this, words of calling people this and that. No, we're not going to do that. We respect them. But it's just that they are in our feelings. Thank you.
And just before you go ahead, let me make the interjection. There's a rumor going around telling people that to the convention, a meeting was convened, and next of the CDC-USA, the national election, or elected or officer or whatever they call it, extended Manonkosa Swindopo 10 you to take out to election. Now, that is lie, or that is lie, right up. But even if they did that, again, it was unconstitutional. Why? Our Constitution that we read to you in Article 13 and 18, it provides a tenure for 2 years. Our Constitution provides a provision that chapter to have election within the course of 2 years to elect new code of officer to our national convention. Now, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, that could be qualified to have to even send delegate over there or to even go to a meeting. The chapter, with the exception of Minnesota and maybe Iowa and Philadelphia, I said to be corrected, all the chapter had not had convention for the past 5 years. Inspire chapter leaders go presides over a meeting to extend a tenure of another aspire or chairperson. Now, when in the world, my people expect us to accept this kind of thing? So the problem is.
Thank you.
I just need to make that correction.
Yeah, thank you. Pastor, the phone number to call is 605-313-6004. Enter the code 791403#. I'm particularly hoping Constant Dropo should call, and I really want to hear from her. I think Liberians listening also want to hear from her because most of these things have been laid squarely at her feet.
Yeah.
Leadership has been
answering.
Yeah, hold on, Teddy. So the phone number to call again is 605-313-6004. We have few minutes to be here. Constant, you can call right now. That would be appreciated. Or else we will close the broadcast because we have another broadcast that should be coming on in the next 6 minutes. So yeah, Teddy, go ahead.
Yeah. As my colleague Reggie said, we are here to help resuscitate whatsoever weakness of the party. We are here to make our party stronger, not to bring our party down. We are not detractors. But in the Liberian society, people expect everybody to just remain reluctant and adamant of important, constitutional, things or matters to put in place. Because as you know, the constitution of any organization is just like the Bible of the organization. So, and we should learn how to restrain patience, and when people come up with these approaches to our society, to our people, we should learn how to embrace this, noble action of this group called the Reformers. We have that ideologues in the party. As you know, I'm not just one person within the CDC, but I propagate as a propagandist for the CDC on a daily basis. I'm one of those who associate with their platform. And those people, there are a lot of these people we see, they just usher in to be leader of CDC. You hardly see them out there defending CDC. So people like us, some of us who really know ourselves, who sacrifice for this party and we wish the betterment, good things for this party, we will not just sit down and allow people just play on us. We have restrained patience over the 6 years. Constant Double came to power. And one of the good things you ever heard since she's been in power is that people want to keep students in chat room and want to depend on our little funds for their personal advertisement expenses. No, Liberians, if when you go onto onto organizations, we're in the United States here, we are capable to work for our money and support our party. We don't want to depend on parties transporting you from place to place.
Teddy, thank you.
Just coming quickly.
And gentlemen, we only have
to just come in quickly,
left.
just a minute. Just a minute.
Hold on, Prince, you will be the last, please. Because of time, I have to manage the time, my friend. Teddy, that will be your closing. Let me come to Pastor Success Dennis for a 1 minute closing. We have 3 minutes, and I'll get Prince one, and I'll close the broadcast. Your closing, and in your closing, I want you to tell us with these grievances, what's the way forward? I think Teddy made it clear what he's looking for. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first I want to establish is that there will be no way that will undermine the progress and the integrity of CDC. No way. I will never and ever associate with any group that stands against the progress of CDC. All we're doing, like you said when I came on, if we as a political party, our governance structure within, if we cannot manage it, what do we tell these great people? Can we go out there and say, "Look, give us this country"? Our standard bearer says something, and that's one of the reasons we even talk about this. That 2029 is now. So if we need to get up, let's start facing it now. We are taking the stand we are taking. We are sedition. We will miss sedition. Some of us are not comfortable going to know. They will not even trust us. They see the guys as part. A sedition is always a sedition. So we want the best for our party, and we want to show you we will be calm, we will be peaceful, we will not attack any personality, we will not insult anybody. Say the thing, starting or we are saying different type of message for different channel, but we will be resolute our opposition. Our chairman called today, say, "Let's come on the table, we'll resolve the issue." But if they Adam and don't listen to all and ignore our plight, they should get ready. We might have 2 CDC-USA with the CD, the CM, the state, everything. Thank you.
Prince, we have 1 minute left. That 1 minute is yours, please. You're closing.
Right. It is unfortunate that up to now, we will continue to plead with our central authority to get involved in this particular disgraceful issue. We want to call the acting chairman, Chairman Janga. We believe in your authority. We believe that this issue can be solved, and there's the reason why we are looking up to you. We don't want to extend this to writing an official communication to our political leader and our standard bearer, because it will prove that you lack the ability to be able to resolve the problem, which we don't want to believe. But we want to use this medium to say that CDC-USA will not fall in the trap of Madam Constant Duopu and her likes who want to devour this institution. Madam Constant Duopu, to just end on this, was in Maryland at the time the Unity Party had their party after they won the so-called, election. And she was caught, or she was seen in that particular party. Somebody put her on the camera and called one of our colleagues, Manny George, and said, but this is your chairman celebrating with the Unity Party people for the victory they had. When we confronted Madam Constant Duopu told us that we as Edison cannot tell who to celebrate with. She has been paying her bill here in USA from day one. CDC not pay her bill. So not even President Weah can tell her which people to associate with or what kind of party to go to. We raised that issue. That was the chick that she gave, and she ended by saying, if you think that the power you give me or you make me cheer, that what been feeding me or been paying my bill, you can have it. Why the hurry for this particular convention? We should have taken our own time. Go and sit and ask ourselves, colleagues, what is the problem? We were not in hurry for how you call this convention. It should have been a convention to converge our funniest brain, like our own elder, and Dorothy Dazi. But unfortunately, because of the greed for power and to divide us, Constant Duopu thought that she could use the power. We resist this. Even in the court of legal representation, we resist it. Thank you for giving us the opportunity, sir.
Prince, thank you. Teddy Lion Yakun, thank you. Pastor Success A.B. Dennis, thank you. We also want to say thank you to Comrade Trocon, who left because of some engagement earlier. Gentlemen, we appreciate you coming to Focus on Liberia to air your grievances. And you, according to you, you're seeking reconciliation. You're seeking a way forward. You want to correct things now before things get out of hand. You made yourself clear. The Liberian people will be the judge. We will reach out to 10 Constant Duopu to bring them on so that the Liberian people to hear from them also. This is what we do here at Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, we promote all things Liberia. Thanks to our audience who followed the discussion. We will now close with a song that says, we are all Liberians. Thank you. And please share the show anytime. Bye-bye, guys.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.